Hi, my name is Taylor Aviles, and this is a documentary of my high school experience. My high school experience was a very peculiar experience, very different from the ordinary high school experience. But I'm gonna begin from the beginning. I'm originally from the Bronx. I went to Harry S. Truman High School, and that's where I began my freshman year. My freshman year it was a lot of fun, but I would say I wasn't really focused on school, and I made a lot of bad decisions. But overall, it was an experience that needed to happen, and it wouldn't bring me to where I am today. My high school experience was a very peculiar experience, very different from the ordinary high school experience. But I'm gonna begin from the beginning. I'm originally from the Bronx. I went to Harry S. Truman High School, and that's where I began my freshman year. My freshman year it was a lot of fun, but I would say I wasn't really focused on school, and I made a lot of bad decisions. But overall, it was an experience that needed to happen, and it wouldn't bring me to where I am today. Truman was a very difficult situation for me. There was a lot of teachers that aren't worth mentioning and didn't really leave a good impact on the learning aspect of school. More because not because that they couldn't teach, but more because of the attitude wise, and the environment was just not an environment I was comfortable with. So I've met plenty of wonderful friends throughout living in the Bronx, but that's not really what school is meant for. So it eventually led to the decision to me moving to Brooklyn and coming to Fort Hamilton High School. Coming to Fort Hamilton was a very nice change of pace for me. It was an environment that I've enjoyed a lot, but because I was not used to it, in some ways it made me kind of uncomfortable because everybody was very nice and genuine, and I wasn't very used to it. So it took me a while to get used to it. Like, the teachers were very kind and like very welcoming, and it was, in ways it made me very uncomfortable because I wasn't used to it. One of my first encounters with a student was I was sitting alone by myself in the back because I didn't know anyone, and she like introduced herself, and I didn't know what to do, and it was very weird because I've never like introduced myself because I always kept my distance from everyone, and she just like in some ways took me under her wing and just like told me how I should go about things and was very kind to me. One thing that was very easy to adjust with was the scenery. Coming from Truman, there was about 7 floors. The elevator was never working. There was a bunch of students, and coming to Fort, it's a lot easier. There's only 30 floors. It was very easy to find the classes on my first day. And even if I couldn't find classes, I could just ask for help, and everyone was willing to show me which way to go. Gym was one of my favorite classes, but like, who doesn't like gym? And all the friends that I've made playing basketball just coming to Fort was very heartwarming and very memorable, and I was just through basketball.
Were you ever late to any of your classes?
The other question is, which class wasn't I late to?
Oh, I see. Which one was your favorite class besides gym?
Probably global. Global was very interesting. Learning about World War II. That was probably like the only interesting part I was like really into when it came to school. But I was a very rebellious student when it came to like doing work and stuff. But in the end game, I've done all my work, so I had to do what I have to do. And yeah,
And how were the teachers? How'd you like some of the teachers?
some of the teachers, they did their job. I wasn't friends with them, but I didn't have to be.
Any worth mentioning?
I don't remember any names.
What about any worth forgetting?
Some classes I really didn't see the point. Like I didn't sign up for. It was mostly electives though. It wasn't the main classes.
So overall, the school was good.
Yeah, overall, it was school. School isn't a circus. Got to do what I got to do. But it was a pretty good experience.
Now, how did you get to school?
I walk to school every day. It's about a 20-minute walk from home to the school. It was fairly easy to get to the school. Nothing was challenging except when I had to battle against the elements. That would be the little challenging part, but
What kind of elements?
the cold, the rain, the snow. Sometimes it would be so cold I just want to turn back around and go home. I wanted to forget school. Those are the only challenging parts of traveling to school. But it was definitely a battle with the elements. But that was the only thing I had to worry about when it came to traveling to school. It was fairly easy.
All right, so what kind of elements were you battling?
The cold, the rain, the snow. Sometimes it would be so cold I just want to turn back around and go home. I wanted to forget school. Those are the only challenging parts of traveling to school. But it was definitely a battle with the elements. But that was the only thing I had to worry about when it came to traveling to school. It was fairly easy. There was one teacher that was I enjoyed. That was the class that I really enjoyed going to the most. That every day I could just look forward to going to that class. And it was my junior year, and I believe her name was Miss Russo. And I just always enjoyed going to her classes, whether it be group work or whatever it was. But after I was getting comfortable with the scenery, making friends, everything started to be getting more easier with the transition from school to school. I was doing my work, I was going about my day, I was hanging out with people after school. The pandemic hit, and that kind of squashed a whole lot of stuff. After I start getting comfortable with everything. I'm enjoying my junior year. I didn't take the SATs yet. I didn't do any regions yet. Well, I did actually do 2 regions. I don't even remember how that went. But I was always looking forward to Miss Russo's class. And funny enough, we were just about to begin a project with a group project with PowerPoint. We were making a PowerPoint of a college that we wanted to go to, and I wasn't very outspoken or outgoing when it came to presenting, so I wasn't really looking forward to it. And ironically enough, the pandemic had hit, and it was only the beginning, so I didn't think it was as serious as it would become. So hearing that we had a few weeks off of school was probably like the best feeling ever. Like, yeah, I have vacation for a few weeks. And it was before online school, of course, so I was just staying home, playing video games, going outside, playing basketball. And then you start hearing how serious it gets, and then everything starts shutting down. They start taking off basketball rims. The school is permanently closed. I already having a weak immune system, being that I have asthma. So I was already fearful enough that the pandemic was already here. And then after hearing school shut down, I didn't know what was going to become of it. I didn't know what was going to happen. And it took a while to adjust to the lifestyle of staying home every weekday after I was used to going to school. Now I'm in mid-junior year, and now I'm going to sleep late, waking up late, thinking that I have no worries, and I get emails from the school saying that there's going to be an online school, Google Classroom, and this is mid-junior year, and it was another confusing thing to adjust to. So it was just very, at first it was a little difficult, but when you start figuring it out, it became very easy. So it was like, obviously, aside from all the casualties of the pandemic was a little bit of a blessing in disguise, being that you can it kind of slowed everything down, and it made school a lot easier for me.
Okay.
So the beginning of online school, it was decently easy. It was open book. I had easy access to information when I didn't understand anything, and it was just overall easy. And it made it, just get out of bed and then just turn on the laptop and then go back to bed once you finish class. And and it was very easy. But after a while, you start to question, when am I going to go back to school? When I'm going to have these teacher interactions? I have teachers that I haven't even seen before that I still do work in their class. But overall, the beginning of online schooling was fairly easy. Once online school got established, the right amount of students per class, and everybody was ready to begin teaching. It only took a week or two. But once everything got established, it was nice, video chatting, seeing other students, seeing teachers. It was nice seeing that, but it's not the same feeling as going in person, meeting the teachers, and it was another thing that I was uncomfortable with and that I had to adjust to, and it's weird because you hear them, but you don't have any relationships with the teachers. You don't really pay attention as much because you're home. It doesn't feel the same as being in a school. It doesn't feel as strict, you could say. It was after a while, being that everything was easy, after a while you just begin to miss going to school and going in person and meeting new people, meeting new teachers, getting in trouble. It's being uncomfortable when you didn't do the homework and you have to say that you didn't do it. It just had a different feeling to it. It was very unusual. It was just unusual. It was just, after a while, you just want to just go back to school. And it was it's one of those things where you think I'd never say that in a million years, but you just tend to start missing school after a while. So when the pandemic started, it was about like beginning of March of my junior year, and now heading towards the end of my junior year. It was a peculiar process, but my grades went up, so yeah, I can't really complain about that. I didn't really get the interactions that I wanted to. My teacher, Miss Russo, who I enjoyed going to her class, I didn't really get that much time to meet her because she was pregnant, so she wasn't there in the beginning of the school year. So, and then, once I started enjoying the class, the pandemic hit, and I was like, geez, no more human interactions. But, now coming towards the end of my junior year, everything is coming to an end. So, in my head, I'm like, all right, this was easy. Bumped my overall GPA up. Passed everything. I learned a little bit more. Learning was a lot more easier. Now I'm headed into the summer, thinking come September, everyone's gonna start class again, start coming in person. And I soon found out that was not gonna be the case. Now, headed into senior year, summer's over, didn't really do anything because of the pandemic. Stayed indoors almost every day. Now headed into senior year, and I'm just like not into it at all. Honestly, I didn't want to go to class. I didn't want to do anything. I was like, I do not want to do this. I just wasn't into it at all. I wanted to miss class, but I spoke to my guidance counselor, and he was like that I am behind because of my troubles at Truman. He was like, because of that I am behind, so I would have more classes now my senior year to catch up with. And I got avalanched with a hefty amount of classes, about at least I believe 13 or 12 classes. So all of that thinking about not going to class just went out the window, and I was like, now I have all this work to do, and I'm just not looking forward to it at all. I went to like being a troublesome student, being rebellious, and now I have to be a scholar and do my work. And I just wasn't looking forward to it, but I knew that if I wanted to graduate by the end of this year, I have to get this done. So I was like, and my guidance counselor told me, he was like, from what it looks like, if you do everything you're supposed to do and pass everything, then it's looking good. So I was like, that's what you love to hear. And that's what you love to hear. You love to hear that. And now I'm headed into senior year, thinking this is going to be a lot of work, but gotta get it done if I want to graduate. And I chose to get it done. It was a very stressful senior year, but I didn't really enjoy it, but being that online learning was easier for me, I wouldn't say it made it a breeze, but it made it easier than it would have been if I had to do it in person. I don't know what would have happened if I would have still been in person. So if I was to choose if I was to go back and be able to choose which one would I want to do, online or in person, I still don't know to this day which one I would prefer, because both, I like doing both, but both helped me in a way that if I would have did one, cool. If I would have did the other, still cool. But I still don't know to this day which one I would prefer. But
do you think the combination of both helped you out greatly?
I think the combination of both was what made my high school experience very, very strange. Because I was used to one thing in the Bronx, and I had to change to another coming to Fort Hamilton. and now I have to change to another lifestyle of staying home and doing it. But it was just a very difficult time.
Now, online learning, do you have a favorite class?
When it came to online learning, I wasn't really looking forward to any of the Google Meets. I just wanted to just be assigned work and I'll do it. I was like, it didn't matter how hard it was. I was like, I'll just do it. I just really didn't like going to the meets. And I would say halfway into the school year, there were some meets that I would refuse to go to, and I was penalized with my grade. So then I was like, all right, now I have to go to these classes because or else I'm gonna fail and then I don't graduate. So then I was like, that's gonna suck. So now I have to get back, all right, gotta go to these classes. And one of those classes that I wasn't going to in the beginning and that I'm going to now, it turns out that I enjoy going to now, ironically, is this class that I'm doing this project for, Mr. Alvear. And probably the only class that I really enjoyed. And first it was English, now it's film. So I don't know how I would enjoy English. I cannot go back in the past and redo that, but I enjoy film. Who doesn't like watching movies? And it's good movies. It's not like just random movies that you just pick out, but it's real good movies. And this is probably the only thing I've enjoyed from online learning. So ironically, the class that I didn't want to go to, and then when I started going to, it ended up being my favorite. And I'm not saying this because I want to pass, but it was just the most entertaining. I have found nothing else. I wasn't looking forward to anything else but Film 101. Now, headed into the end of senior year, and I wish I would have had specific memories that I could remember, but that's what made this experience very peculiar. I don't have any specific memories that really left an impact on me. None that I can say, oh, I'm gonna remember this forever, which in ways, yeah, it kind of sucks, but this experience is an experience that you'll remember to not take stuff for granted, and pass it on to my future kids. Tell other people about my experience, and there's stuff that I've enjoyed and there's stuff that I haven't, and it's been a challenging and wonderful ride. Would I wish for different? Not really, because I wouldn't know what I know today if none of this happened. None of this wouldn't have happened. I probably still could have been failing. I probably could have been a scholar. Who would have known? But I'm thankful for who I am today. I thank God that I might be graduating this June. It's looking good. I'm thankful for my parents for always having my back, even when sometimes I might not have deserved it. And I'm grateful for all the teachers who were always nice to me, always kind, even if I was to cut class or miss so many assignments. But to sum everything up, my high school experience, definitely one to remember, but it was alright. But I am grateful for this opportunity. I'm grateful for this short documentary of my life. I will never forget my high school experience now. And thank you, and God bless.